Hello everyone, welcome to GSS Core. This is Ajay Shah. So again today we are going to discuss 10 MCQs from current affairs. So this is the first question for you, and this question is on Pradhan Mantri Kisan Man Dhan Yojana. So the first statement says it is a central sector scheme administered by Department of Finance, Ministry of Finance. So this statement is factually incorrect because Pradhan Mantri Man Dhan Yojana is by Department of Agriculture, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, and not Ministry of Finance. The second statement says the Life Insurance Corporation of India LIC is the pension fund manager for the scheme and responsible for the pension payouts. So this statement is correct. LIC is the pension fund manager. So only 2 is the correct statement. So correct answer will be option B. Now some value addition. So what is Pradhan Mantri Kisan Man Dhan Yojana? So this is nothing but this is a pension scheme, and this scheme provides for an assured monthly pension of rupees 3,000 to all the land holding small and marginal farmers, whether male or female, on their attaining the age of 60 years. Now the amount of monthly contribution ranges from rupees 55 to rupees 200 per month, depending upon the age of entry of the farmers into the scheme. Now who is eligible for this scheme? So all the smaller marginal farmers in all the states and union territories of the country who are of the age of 18 years and above but below the age of 40 years and who do not fall within the purview of any other exclusion criteria, they are eligible for this benefit. Now what is the exclusion criteria here? The exclusion criteria is that all the farmers who are covered under any other statutory schemes like National Pension Scheme, Employees State Insurance Corporation Scheme, Employees Fund Organization Schemes, etc., they are not eligible for this scheme. Apart from this, there are also some other exclusion criteria. Like for example, all the institutional landholders, they are not eligible. Then former or present holders of constitutional post, they are also not eligible. And also professionals like doctors, engineers, lawyers, CAs, they are also not eligible for this scheme. So that's all. So let's move to the next question. Now this question is on inner line permit. So let's read the statement. The second statement says it is an official travel document granted to the Indian citizen to travel in protected area for a limited period. So this is correct because inner line permit is granted for a limited period of time. Now second statement says it is issued by respective state government. So here comes the tricky part because inner line permit is issued by Government of India and not by respective state government. So second statement is wrong. The third statement says currently it is operational in Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram and Nagaland. So this is correct. So 1 and 3 are the correct statement. That is option number C. Now some value addition. So what is inner line permit? Inner line permit is basically an official travel document that is issued by the Government of India to grant inward travel to an Indian citizen into a protected area for a limited period. Now visitors are not allowed to purchase property in this region, but they are only allowed to visit for some specific purpose. Currently inner line permit is operational in Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram and Nagaland. In addition to this, Meghalaya, Manipur, Andaman Nicobar and Leh also require Indian citizens to have permit before they enter. Now what is the purpose of this inner line permit? The purpose is to regulate the movement of visitors into sensitive regions and also to strengthen security of sensitive regions near to international borders. Apart from that, the protection of cultural ethos of a specific region is also one of the factors. So let's move to the next question. So this question is on Meitei community. Fine, that was in news recently. So let us read the statement. The first statement says Meiteis are inhabitants of Manipur that have been protesting for granting them the scheduled tribe status. So this might be a tricky option because when the word Manipur comes into picture, you might be thinking that this community is already a scheduled tribe community, but this is not correct because Meitei community, they are basically demanding the status of scheduled tribe status. So this is correct. Now, the second is Meitei want strict imposition of ILP in Manipur to protect their culture and identity. So this is also correct. So both statement 1 and 2 are correct. Now some validation. So Meitei community of Manipur are largely Hindus and they are believed to be behind the recent violent protest. Now, why this violent protest was there? It was there because Meitei basically they are demanding the status of scheduled tribe. But the tribals who are already staying there in Manipur, they are saying that once Meitei will get the tribal status, then Meitei will buy all the land which now belong to the tribal people. Now, the influx of foreign tourists and illegal immigration from Bangladesh, Nepal, Myanmar has also amplified the crisis. Why amplified the crisis? Because this has created a kind of fear among the locals over employment and also the scarcity of resources. And that's why Meiteis want a strict imposition of inner line permit in Manipur to protect their culture and identities. For your value addition, you should know that Meiteis, they have abandoned their traditional religion, that is Sanmahi faith, and now they have converted in mass into Hinduism. So that's all. Let's move to the next question. So this question is about Jan Suchna portal. So let's read the statement. The first statement says it is the first ever public information portal launched by government of Rajasthan. So this is absolutely correct. The second says it will not require citizens to submit RTI application for seeking information. So Jan Suchna portal is related to RTI, that's very correct, but that has no relation with filing of RTI. It's a very different thing. I will tell you what is that. So second is also correct. Now the third statement says the portal will prevent anomalies and corruption in the governance. So this can be solved by common sense. Obviously, when we have something like Suchna portal, then that will fight the corruption. So third statement is also correct. So all the statements 1, 2 and 3 are correct. Fine. Now some value addition. So as per, if you read RTI Act 2005, then as per section 4 subclause 2 of the RTI Act 2005, there is a requirement that public authorities should disclose the information proactively. That means they should disclose and flow the information voluntary on the basis of voluntary requirement to the public, so that the requirement that the public file RTA, that will be minimized. Now this Jan Suchna portal will do the same thing, and it will not require the citizens to submit RTI application for seeking information. And the objective is to provide information on government services and authorities to public suo motu, in true spirit of the right to information. Now this mobile app will be developed, and there will be self-service portals, and this will be installed in the villages so that the people can access the Jan Suchna portal easily, and they can share, they can get the information which they require. That's all. Now this question is on National Pension Scheme for traders and self-employed persons. So let's read the statement. The first statement says, under this scheme, the shopkeepers, retail traders and the self-employed persons are assured a minimum monthly pension of rupees 3,000 per month after attaining the age of 60 years. So this is correct. The second statement, the age limit to enroll for this scheme is between 18 to 14 years. So this is also correct. The third is the scheme is based on self-declaration with no documents are required except Aadhaar card and bank accounts. So again, this might appear tricky, but this is correct because under this scheme, the requirement is of only Aadhaar card and the bank accounts. So all the statement 1, 2 and 3 are correct. So D will be the correct answer. Now some value addition. So National Pension for Traders and Self-Employment Persons, this is a scheme. Under this scheme, all the shopkeepers, retail traders and self-employed persons, they are assured a minimum monthly pension of rupees 3,000 per month after attaining the age of 60 years. Now all the small shopkeepers and self-employed persons as well as the retail traders with GST turnover below 1.5 CR. So please take a note of this. The GST turnover should be below 1.5 CR. And the age between 18 to 14 years, they can enroll for this scheme. Now this scheme is based on self-declaration and there is no requirement of any document except Aadhaar card and bank card. And the interested person can enroll themselves through common service centers spread across the country. Now GSTIN number is required. Fine, GSTIN number is required, but that is required only for the people in whom the turnover of the business is above 40 lakhs. Now in this scheme, the central government shall give 15% share of the monthly contribution and remaining 50% will come from the beneficiary. For example, say if a person is there of age 29 years of old and he contributes at 100 rupees per month, then central government will also contribute rupees 100 per month as a subsidy in the account of that person beneficiary. Okay, so that's all. Move to the next question. So this question is on international migrant stock release 2019. Fine. So let's read the statement. India was the leading country of origin of international migrants in 2019 with a strong diaspora. So this is very correct. India has become the leading country in, as far as migrant is concerned. The second is that share of women in the total number of international migrants has seen a decrease over the past years. Fine. So this statement is also correct as per the report. Now the third statement says Bangladesh was the top source of migrants to India. So this is also correct. So all 1, 2 and 3 are correct. So option D is the correct answer. Now some validation. So what is this international migrant stock? This is a report which has been released by United Nations. And as per the report, UAE was the top destination for Indian migrants, and that has been followed by US, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan and Oman. And Bangladesh was a top source of migrants to India, followed by Pakistan, Nepal, Sri Lanka and at last China. This question is based on a survey that is All India Survey on Education, Higher Education 2018 to 19. So let us read the statement. The first statement says gross enrollment ratio for male population is 26.3 and for female it is 26.4. So at the first instance it looks factually wrong, but this is factually correct, and it was again a part of debate because it looks in this statement it is clearly mentioned that the gross enrollment ratio for male population is slightly less than that of female populations, but the statement 1 is correct. Now second is there are more female teachers in the higher education institutions in India than males. This statement is wrong because as per this report more male teachers are there in higher education institutes in comparison to female. Second statement is wrong. Third says UP and Karnataka have more female enrollment in higher education as compared to other states. So this statement is correct. So this question was purely factual. So option C is the correct answer. We'll move to the next question. So this question is on Higher Education Commission of India. Fine. So the statement says the proposed Higher Education Commission of India will replace UGC, AICTE, Medical Council of India, Central Advisory Board of Higher Education. The correct answer is D, that is this proposed body, I will discuss that, will replace all the 4 institutions given in the option. So the correct answer is option number D. Now let us see some value addition. So in India, education is included in the concurrent list, that is both center and state can make laws. Now higher education is regulated by multiple authorities. There are multiple bodies, like for example UGC regulates universities and colleges teaching general subjects, and it has the power to determine all the standards in all the colleges teaching general subjects. Now apart from UGC, we also have AICTE that basically regulates technical education institutes such as engineering, management and architecture. But apart from this, we also have regulatory bodies like Bar Council of India, Medical Council of India, nursing councils, etc. So we can see that at present we have multiple bodies to regulate the education institutes of our country. So several expert bodies like National Knowledge Commission of India, National Knowledge Commission, then Yashpal Committee, and also Committee for Evolution of New Education Policy. They all have suggested that there should be a major reform in higher education, and especially that reform should come in the regulatory mechanism. And so as per all the reports of the commissions, it has been recommended that current system is over regulated but under governed, and so there is a need to replace all the multiple regulatory body with an independent regulator, and name of that regulator is going to be Higher Education Commission of India. And this commission, that is Higher Education Commission of India, is going to maintain academic standards in higher education by specifying learning outcomes for various courses, specifying eligibility criteria for vice chancellor, then making some standards for higher education institutes and all. Fine. So that's all. We'll move to the next question. This question is on National Nutrition Survey. So let's read the statement. The first statement says, comprehensive national nutrition survey was conducted by Ministry of Women and Child Development in partnership with UNICEF. So this is factually incorrect, because this national nutrition survey was conducted by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare in partnership with UNICEF to measure level of malnutrition in India. Now, second statement says Clinical Development Services was monitoring agency for this survey. So this is factually correct. So only B will be the correct answer here. So it's a very factual question. We'll move to the next question. So this is the last question for us, and this is about Kanya Shri scheme, a very famous scheme which has got, I will read the question for you. So the first statement says, it has received United Nations Public Service Award. So this is correct, because Kanya Shri scheme has received United Nations Public Service Award for its innovative idea. Now the second statement says it is a conditional cash transfer scheme which contributes toward the empowerment of girls in the state of West Bengal. So this is also correct. Now the third statement says all the girl children within the age of 6 to 20 in the state of West Bengal are targeted beneficiary. So this is factually incorrect, because as per the Kanya Shri scheme, all the girl children within the age of 13 to 18 in the states are targeted beneficiary. So only 1 and 2 are the correct statements. So option C will be the correct answer. Now some value addition. What is Kanya Shri scheme? Kanya Shri scheme is basically a conditional cash transfer scheme aiming at improving the status and well-being of girl child by providing some kind of incentives so that the marriages of the girls are delayed. And recently it has got the award of United Nations Public Service Award, and it has several objectives like to improve the lives and status of adolescent girls in the state. It has also objective like preventing child marriages and also at last empowerment of girls in the state. So that's all up to today. I hope you liked the class. Please like and subscribe our channel for more such videos. Thank you very much.